Thank you very much, Kathy. We start here tonight. The Financial Intelligence Center has proposed new regulations that will target unexplained wealth from the possible proceeds of crime. In just the past 12 months, the FIC, in partnership with other law enforcement authorities, assisted in the recovery of more than 5 billion rands in criminal assets. The FIC is now piloting a new legislative tool that seeks to target people with unexplained wealth. And to talk more about this is the director of the FIC, Advocate Xolisile Khanyile. Advocate Khanyile, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Good afternoon, Polani.
You produced over 3,000 financial intelligence reports during the past year, and those were actually used by law enforcement and other authorities in their investigations, prosecutions and applications for seizure of and forfeiture of assets. A lot of work has gone on in the past year. 5 billion rands is a lot of money in terms of recovery in assets that are linked to criminal elements.
Olane, this is very, very much exciting if you compare to where we are coming from. In the previous year, we had law enforcement agencies being able to recover about 3 billion from the information that they get from the Financial Intelligence Center. And that number has gone up now to 5 billion. It shows that the effective collaboration between law enforcement agencies is indeed working. You have heard that there is a fusion center. There is a fusion center that is housed here in the FIC. And in the fusion center, you've got your NPA, you've got your asset forfeiture unit, you've got your SIU, you've got your South African Revenue Service. And these are the results of the effective collaboration that has been happening in the fusion center. But I don't want to give the fusion center credit alone. The Fusion Center has been working collaboratively with our first public-private partnership that we have heard about, which is the South African Integrated Anti-Money Laundering Task Force, which is made of about 20 banks together with the regulators. You've got your Reserve Bank sitting there, you've got SABRIC, you've got a Prudential Authority, and you've got BASA. And it's a collective that says, we are not only going to send one report to our FIU and allow the FIU to do an analysis based on a singular transaction that we have sent to them. But when we have identified something big, we are going to be able to sit together with an FIU as banks, whether we are 4 and 5, and say, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And this enables the FIU to have a better and a comprehensive report that law enforcement agencies can quickly action. And these are the results of that collaboration. And we can even do more if we can continue with all the efforts that we are seeing.
The collaboration in the Fusion Center speaks volumes, and it also says, when you look at how much it has been recovered from 3 billion rands in the past, in the previous year, to 5 billion rands this year, it suggests that there's a lot of criminal activity that is financially related out there that we are not seeing.
You know what? We were assessed by FATF in 2019, and our report shows that if you look at the cases that are reported at our police station, 50% of those cases are proceeds-generating crime. Hence, it's important that we focus on financial crimes and we focus on doing intelligence-driven investigations using a product coming from an FIC. But this collaboration now, you can really see that it is based not only on recovering assets, but also on prioritizing the state capture cases. And all the entities that I've mentioned, from your NPA, asset forfeiture recovery of the NPA, SIU and SARS, have that common focus.
The new legislative tool that you have spoken about in the past week, what is it intended to do? How is it going to be different from the work that you are already doing in the Fusion Center and the FIC?
You know what, Polani? Globally, globally, we have been found wanting when it comes to recovering the proceeds of crime. We are recovering only a fraction. The Financial Action Task Force has really released a report looking at about 100 countries that had undergone the fourth round of mutual evaluation. So it is a priority in terms of FATF. It is a priority in terms of the FIUs, in terms of financial intelligence units in the Egmont Group, to ensure that we all really move and we all recover more when it comes to the assets or the proceeds of crime that we have lost in our jurisdictions, and even those that have lost our borders. We need to be able to recover those proceeds of crime, really using our collaborative efforts and also using our counterparts from outside the countries from outside the country to be able to assist us. So this is a global problem, but as South Africa, we have said, we see a lot. We don't have a legislation per se that deals with unexplained wealth orders, but we have a good legislation in the Prevention of Organized Crime Act that sits with the NPA and with asset forfeiture. Where the National Director of Public Prosecutions is running with those applications. And we said, let's look at the current legislations that we are having. Legislation that deals with asset recovery sitting at SARS, the powers that the SIU is also having, and say, using all these collective efforts, can we really be able to take assets from those persons whose wealth cannot be explained and you really don't know where it's coming from? And there's all these suspicion that it is unexplained wealth, because if you look at their legitimate source of income, it is not in par with the lifestyle that they are living. So we said, let's really focus in that area using the current legislation and get one or two test cases that we can take to court and test the legislation that we are having. So we are running with that project. We have done a comprehensive research, and following that research, we'll be taking one or two cases, good cases, to court to test our current legislation. If we are found wanting, that's when we can look at really having a legislation in our Prevention of Organized Crime Act that will cover this issue. We've seen quite a number of countries, even countries in Africa, moving in this space. Kenya has moved successfully in this space. Mauritius has moved successfully in this space. UK and Australia, they are having this legislation. So it's our way as a collective to say we need to be doing more in the space of asset recovery and be able to have a common strategy as a country that aims at ensuring that we are able to recover more when it comes to the proceeds of crime that we are losing as a result of these criminals.
Before I let you go, Advocate Khanyile, a cabinet has already approved or passed that particular general laws amendment bill, something that has been widely welcomed in an effort to actually avoid grey listing for South Africa. And we have spoken to a number of industry leaders in the financial services space who are sort of downplaying the veracity of the impact that this will have on South Africa. Do you think all these efforts from the FIC and other law enforcement agencies and cabinet are going to be enough, in fact, to actually prevent South Africa from being grey listed internationally?
Yeah. I don't think really the messages are downplaying. The messages are trying to convey the efforts that have been done in order to address the deficiencies that have been highlighted by FATF. And I must say, we've seen progress in a number of areas. If you read the papers, you see the assets forfeiture unit, you see SARS, you see NPA really recovering assets and taking people to court that have been involved in state capture. And the state capture issue is an issue that is specifically mentioned in our report. But the sectors that you have spoken to, I don't know who they are. I assume they are talking about their sectors only. But when it comes to the assessment by FATF, it's much broader, it's very much vigorous, it has a criteria, and my view is with the lowest ratings that we have had, FATF has about 40 recommendations, and we have recorded the lowest recommendations the lowest rating in about 20 of those recommendations. So it's a very, very bad rating that we have received. And with this bad rating, the lowest rating that we have ever seen, I've seen countries who have really been on the same path as us, going straightly to the ICRG process. But there are already efforts in place. National Treasury is leading that process. If you have seen the amendments that have been done to the FIC Act, trying to amend everything so that we don't go as individuals in silos. So that's the greatest success. But FATF don't only look at the laws, whether you've got the right laws and you have amended the laws. They also want to see whether are you effective as a result of the laws that you have put in place, that you have amended. Are you implementing them, and do they show that you are effective? So that might be a problem that really we might encounter to show effectiveness. Hence, I'm saying we are already speaking with some of the organizations. We're speaking to Mauritius that have gone through this process and they didn't stay that long. We're speaking to the EU Global Facility. It has come on board. We're already having engagements with them to try and assist us in ensuring that when we go into the ICRG process, we don't stay long. We just go and we come out as quickly as possible.
Advocate Khanyile is the director at the Financial Intelligence Center. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, talking about the possibility of grey listing for South Africa and their recovery efforts of 5 billion rand in the past financial year in the proceeds of crime in financial criminal assets.